I want to start off with Microsoft's big acquisition here because we don't talk a lot about them, though they have been a little bit more active in seeking out opportunities. The latest Nuance Communications, a price there, Aikiko, this one going to be about 23% over where we saw shares of Nuance trading on Friday, $56 a share. When you rope in debt, you get north of $19 billion. Let's break down what it means for Microsoft here moving forward. To kick off the show, our first guest, Brent Thill. He's a Jefferies Analyst. He joins us right now. And Brent, we talk about Microsoft being more active, but what does this mean for them, and why would they seek out a speech software leader like Nuance here? What do they seek to gain from it?
Thanks for having me. I think as it relates to healthcare, this is one of the worst industries in terms of automation. Anyone that's seen a doctor realizes how difficult this process is. And from the doctor actually figuring out how they best can help you through the process flow of the entire information flow is really broken. I think Nuance and Microsoft aim to close the gap on that as it relates to healthcare. Number one, obviously there's an enterprise business too. Many of these call centers you call into are automated. I don't think that's going away. So there's an enterprise angle on this as well. But I think that the primary focus of this is healthcare. And again, I think this is one of many steps that Microsoft needs to take to solidify their business in the healthcare market. But big market, and obviously Amazon's making a big push into this industry as well. And I think everyone's going after the golden ticket of healthcare is just really a really bad process automation. There's a lot of inefficiency and waste that happens. Clearly a very expensive deal, second largest deal. They haven't done a deal this expensive for 5 years. So looking at a big price tag, but obviously a big addressable TAM that they feel they can go after.
Yeah, Brent, I wonder if you can talk about that enterprise side there. At first glance, obviously, the healthcare side, we're certainly looking at that, but there seems to be a big opportunity, especially given the big footprint Microsoft already has in enterprise. How supportive do you think that Nuance can be in growing that side and servicing the existing clients?
Yeah, I think many of us aren't really calling call centers as much anymore, right? We're going to self-serve, we're going online. So the enterprise business will be important, but I think healthcare is priority one. When you look at the enterprise business, again, I think many of us get to call centers, we just hit zero and want to get to a live operator to get help. So my view is that Nuance has been in the enterprise for a long time. It's still an important legacy install base, but I think healthcare is going to be the primary focus and where they make the push here.
Brent, this is Dan Howley. I want to ask what this means, I guess, for the healthcare space overall. Is the healthcare space really kind of the next major battlefield for these tech companies? Obviously we have Microsoft and Amazon and Google doing kind of their back and forth in the cloud, but does this kind of push into healthcare from the likes of Microsoft and Amazon on its own side kind of speak to that growing kind of war between them all?
Yeah, there's no question. And we've been predicting for years that Amazon would make a bigger move into healthcare. And obviously Amazon's pushing their own healthcare initiative beyond the inside of the company to now providing telehealth to all of us out in the field. You see what they did with the PillPack acquisition around the delivery of these drugs to your home. So I think, both are kind of taking a different angle on this, but I think there is a collision that's going to happen. And it's no surprise that this deal happened, given how big the healthcare space is, given how terrible the process is. Again, I just look at your daily life and what's like the number one thing you cringe doing. It's the entire process of what's happening. I've got a stack of bills behind me on the healthcare side from my kids and refunds and checks you got to deposit, and the process is terrible, right? So if you look at what Amazon and what Microsoft and the rest of these companies can do to help put this more into more digital form, into a more automated form, as Microsoft highlighted this morning, the AI component of this, I kind of chuckle because I still think we're still a long ways away from the AI being as meaningful as I think Microsoft would want you to believe. But I think this is the dream. And this is definitely, no question, Google's been pushing. You're going to see all big three mega clouds go after this space in a big way.
Brent, lastly, though, I mean, it sounded like you were kind of talking about maybe the valuation being a bit high here for Nuance. I mean, obviously, no doubt, you're not going to hear anyone disagree when we talk about frustrations in the healthcare space. But when it comes to the price they paid, what do you make of that? And maybe how quickly they're going to want to see this side of the business start to grow?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the most expensive deal they've done in 5 years. Obviously, software valuations have gone, sky high in the last 3-4 years. You've seen valuations last year in software across the board up 50% on multiples. So no one's going to say software is cheap in the industry. So that's an industry-wide phenomenon. But yeah, I mean, this was a very large transaction. It was a very expensive deal. It equates to about 14 times next 12-month revenue. That is a very expensive multiple for a company, that quite frankly has been going through a transition, right? And Nuance is transitioning from a perpetual model on-prem to a cloud model. And so, again, big multiple, but they had the keys to, the voice and enabled systems in healthcare and had done a really nice job in that segment of the business. So, multiples are what they are right now. They're really high across the industry. So any deal you're going to do in software right now, you're going to pay a big multiple. That's just the reality of our industry at this time. But again, I look at it and say, given the vertically aligned focus for healthcare, I think they get a hall pass for investors, given how big this market is and given how the opportunity. And if Amazon wasn't going after it, then people would scratch their head. But all three of the mega clouds are going after healthcare in a big way.